Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the BEA beautiful farm of Freedom's Phoenix. Now, I'm really glad we have a great show that we've done this hour with Jafar Al-Shayeb, and I hope that he'll agree to come back in the future, because it's very rare that we'll have someone that has ties with the government, in fact is an elected official in the government, and advocating for human rights in an environment that you want to make sure you do it enough to make sure that their voices are heard, but not enough to wind up in jail or dead. I have complete understanding, and I appreciate you coming on, Jafar. I'm looking for an answer to Bahrain. Why was it that Saudi Arabia got involved in that? And how do you think the American people should perceive the force being imposed upon peaceful protesters there being ignored, but we go and invade Libya? I mean, how are we not to see the hypocrisy of that?
Well, this is part of what has been told here many times as double standards in the U.S. foreign policy. Really, we see it in different places. Bahrain is a very important location. You have Iran on the east, and you have Saudi Arabia on the west. The people of Bahrain have been for a long time demanded freedom, demanded democracy, demanded equal opportunities, because there are many religious sects in Bahrain. But it was very difficult period for the Bahraini people to have all these reform taking place. Although in 2002 there have been some positive development, but that was not enough. Because the government promised to give more political reform, but many of them were disappointed with the government measures. Now, with these developments that are taking place in the Arab states here, including Libya and Yemen, Egypt, and Tunisia, the Bahraini people also, they demonstrated demanding the correction in the political system, more involvement, more participation in the political system. Unfortunately, the Bahraini government, use military and arm against the people there, and the intervention of the Saudi forces into Bahrain and complicate the whole issue, and smashed the popular movement in Bahrain.
You know what?
It's a very difficult time now in Bahrain. And it will not resolve the problem, although it may silence.
Jafar, I'm telling you, this. I get the impression that the governments, the kingdoms, the monarchies, they are, going to do the Gaddafi thing. It just depends whether the Western government's in support of you or not. If you don't have them in support of you, then we're going to go in and replace someone like Gaddafi, a monarch, and say, yeah, we support these guys, and which opposition guy are we going to put in, or coup leader, or whatever. You're the new guy. Here, you put on the fine hat. You get the shiny badge. You wear the uniform with all the ribbons on it, and you'll be the guy that we support from now on. And then you have other ones that we already support, and then we'll kill the people or allow them to be killed in order to support whatever interest we have with them. And the one thing that is totally taken out of this is the demographic of a certain future of a vast majority of informed, connected translations all around the globe, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you want to call it. We saw it happen in Iran, that is just making borders ignored. I mean, it doesn't matter. There's no lines in the sand over there that has any difference. You have the pop culture center is Cairo. All the movies, the pop music, the actors, the fashion, and all that kind of comes out of somewhere. Cairo has a lot to do with that. All of a sudden, the youth in Saudi Arabia know what they want, and they know that this kingdom is not going to give it to them. It's not going to allow it. It's not going to provide a transition for it. It's not going to give them the freedom. They know this. And sooner or later, there is going to be revolution, and it starts between the ears. It starts with an awareness. That has happened. So I'm looking at the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Do they understand the inevitability of what's coming? Are they preparing a transition, or are they going to fight tooth and nail and do the Gaddafi thing? No, we're not doing it. You're going to have to invade. Now, I'm of the opinion that sooner or later, if the energy equation gets taken off the table, or the American people just simply get so broke and the dollar goes away, which may be sooner than later. You're an economics master's degree, and you can understand, whether you agree with it or not, you understand on the other side the argument that the United States cannot afford to keep doing this stuff. And sooner or later, the dollar will fail, and it will go, and it won't matter how much we love the King Saud or how much we want to play in Saudi Arabia or in the sand in the Middle East. It won't matter, because we won't be able to. It will be over. So is there any preparation for that? Is there any concession? Is there any understanding from the kingdom there that it is inevitable what's coming, and are they preparing for it? The next generation of the House of Saud or something, or are they just going to dig in and just let it overwhelm into violence? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, what I think is that whenever there is like a regional crisis here, the response was, to open up a little bit in the political system. We saw that in the Gulf War, second Gulf War as well, and currently the king lately last week he announced a huge economic package of around $100 billion. On different fields, social, healthcare, and direct.
They want freedom.
Salaries.
They don't want a bribe. They want freedom.
That's Ernest. That's not the solution. That's not enough. People, it may be just a temporary relief of, for the people, but without having a clear vision, a strategic, change, a genuine political reform in the system, these kinds of measures will not really solve the problem. People, they are now aware of, the policies that the government are taking, and they are demanding, a genuine.
Why are they so recalcitrant? Why are they so in opposition of the kind of change and reform for the benefit of the people? Are they just bad? Are they evil? Are they jealous? Are they old? Or they don't understand? Or is it a religion? What I don't understand. What is it?
Well, there are many factors here. Maybe there is no consistent opposition force that push for a specific agenda. Besides that, the government they have many cars, especially in Saudi Arabia. They have the economic. They have the wealth, they have the tribal differences, they have, the religious establishment supporting, so they feel that they are secure and they can, buy time.
Okay, now this is one thing, before we run out of time, Jafar, I want to get this one point in. They feel secure, and I want to ask this question. Secure based on the policies of the United States government or the United States corporations? I mean, where do they, or do they see that there's a difference? Is the United States oil corporations and British and French, whatever, do they see that and the governments as the same thing? Or do they look to the oil industry to protect them and influence in Washington? Or is it Washington that they have a deal with? Who's the deal being made with? Or do they see the oil corporations and the U.S. government as the same thing?
Well, they feel like they have enough power to buy the support from the West not to be to guarantee they will be on their side, even though the reports by the State Department and by the Religious Freedom Committee, there are many reports on human rights violations and many different violations taking place, but it has not been transferred into like a policy from the West towards the Saudi government, who pushed them to make the reform and respect for human rights. Because again, the economic interest is, for them is more valuable than the human dignity or political reform.
Yep. Jafar, thanks for coming on and spending time with me. It was a great interview. We learned a great deal, and hopefully we can convince you to come back on in the future, because we need to understand this. But sooner or later, in the end, freedom always wins. It just gets really messy first. We'll be right back. Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.